I'm not sure how to operate this, so I don't want to press the wrong buttons.
Me either.
Rich is outside if I can get the right ones, but,
That looks like it's on, but maybe.
Take a second.
So while we're waiting for that to warm up, can I ask what your interest is in solar? What's prompted you to invite me?
Savings.
Savings, okay.
Yeah, it's savings.
Savings and
we wanna
greenness.
Do the right thing for the environment.
Okay, great.
turn the lights down so we have a chance.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Oh, that's much better, yeah. Guess we better press that help button, huh?
What's that?
We better press that help button.
Oh, right.
There's no signal from you, Chuck, I think.
Yeah, I think you gotta mirror your computer to it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's important. Let me just get the internet here. Let's see. So I'll probably need a password. If you would
What's-
want to type it in, that's okay. Yeah, just keep it confidential.
It's not,
Everybody knows it.
it's
Don't
not
ask
capital,
Paul.
right?
That's what we've been told.
Oh, there's your ball.
Paul's is weird.
Suits you.
I'm Sue. Nice to meet you, Chuck. I put it in right. Let's see if it's. Did you say yes it was or it was not capital?
It was for me.
It is capital. Yep.
It was, and we've got it wrong here. Ta-da! Oh, you should be able to.
Should be in shortly, huh?
Whatever it is you need to do it, click your, on your file and it says no.
Well, I should have my screen,
Should be up there.
it should be up by now.
We got a tech guy coming right by soon.
Oh, perfect. You heard us having trouble.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I got the internet.
We'll redo it.
Good job.
That counts for something.
That's right.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Magic.
All right. Let me just get to my presentation here, and then we'll be ready to roll. All right. So, again, I'm Chuck Piper. I own Sundog Solar with my son Danny. He's on the left there. And, we've been in business for almost 10 years. That was back in 2010 or 11. We were putting solar panels on the town hall in Searsmont. So Danny heads up our crew. We've got 8 field installers and 5 electricians, and there's 28 people in the company right now. So we're growing right along here. But before I go any further, does anybody know what a sundog is?
Did we see it on your home screen?
No. Good guess, though.
You mean like when you see one in the sky?
You got
That's
it,
when
yeah.
there's the illusion of the second sun in the
That's
sky.
right.
Yeah.
It's the halo you see around the sun. It's made by ice crystals. Okay. You get a prize.
Okay.
There's your bag. And there's another one there, and this is... So a lot of people, I'm just going to give you a couple of interesting facts. A lot of folks ask, you know, if Maine has a good solar resource. And we do. If you look at this right here, so you can see Maine up here with the green color, and you look down here, it corresponds with about 1,600 kilowatt hours per meter squared per year. Whereas Germany, which is one of the leading countries in the world for solar, theirs is hidden below my pointer there. But let's see if I can get to go away. Whoops. Theirs is more like 1,200 roughly. So, and they were dominating the world in solar. I think China's gone ahead of them, but so Maine has a great resource. We get an average of 4 hours a day per day year round is the average. Obviously, the western United States is the best. Another interesting fact is for every square meter at noon, the sun provides 1,000 watt hours of power, and the solar panels are roughly 19% efficient, so they're only picking up roughly 190 of those 1,000. So that's why we have to have so many, because the efficiency is improving, but still we have to have a bigger surface area to collect that energy. So that's a couple of things there. I don't know if you're familiar with that, and if you have any questions anywhere along the line, feel free to jump in. But the one thing I wanted to talk about today is your landfill and the potential of the landfill. Here's a system we put in Waldoboro in their landfill. So we worked with the DEP on this, and we had to put ballast blocks on that so that it wouldn't puncture the landfill cap. So the DPE is 100% behind a project like this because it's land that you can't use otherwise, and could be a good source of savings for the town. So here the guys are putting solar panels up that last week of December in 2017. It was really chilly, and we had to get this in before the end of the year for the federal tax credit. Then there's this one here that we finalized at the end of 2018 in the town of Tremont, out on MDI. So that particular array is 153 kW, and it's will produce about 183,000 kilowatt hours a year. It satisfies all the electrical needs for the town and one of their schools. And again, that's a capped landfill with a sit-upon system. So I spoke with Matt Young over at the Department of Environmental Protection, and he said, you folks have a great resource with your landfill. So there's your landfill there. A little closer shot of it there. One of the nice things about your landfill is let's see here, it's relatively flat up on the top here. And you also have three-phase power that comes right here. I think it comes to the transfer station, but I definitely saw it out here in the main road. And here's a closer look here. So I think I'll have to adjust that number because we're going to have access pathways, but you can put 9,600 solar panels on that array, on that field, and that would be a 3.57 megawatt system, which would produce about 4.7 megawatts of electricity, megawatt hours. What does that mean? Well, it's about $450,000 worth of electricity that could be produced by that spot there. So there's a lot of potential there.
What was the figure again? The amount, dollar amount?
The dollar amount of the production, the
Yeah.
electricity, it's about it's 447,000, but I've got handouts here that summarize it for you. Pass that around. Sure, thanks. I need a couple to pass over that way. There's a couple for you here. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, let's see, before I go to my next slide, let's see what that is. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about this information here. Let me put it up on the screen for everybody to see. It's a summary of Okay, so this is the same thing that you're looking at there on the paper. Maybe you can see it easier here, but, so it kind of summarizes what I've already talked about in this benefits section here. 4.3 megawatts of power. And you see the initials PPA, Power Purchase Agreement. That's a special arrangement whereby municipalities can basically put in a solar array at no cost to the municipality. The municipality only has to agree to buy the power at a lower cost than what the town is currently paying. So I put in some projections just for conversation's sake, because I don't really know what the town uses for power. But I'm sure the town, you see this big savings figure right here, $9 million over the course of 20 years. I'm sure the town doesn't spend that much. So the idea, I think, behind this array would be some sort of a community project. It would be either allowing other off-takers to come in and benefit from the power, and the town would lease the property, or the town would also take a property tax. So there's some ways for the town to benefit there. The town could also benefit by using the power. So there's a number of ways to approach this. This system is way too big for the town of Bucksport. So it would be something where, there's other towns out there that don't have property. And they've approached us and they'd like to put in solar, and they don't have the space. So they might be interested in participating in this. And the town could lease the property, and so
you're not in the sales business, you're just in the installation business, correct? That would be on the town to go find these folks, or?
no, we find them for you. I've already got a pocket full of people that are interested, towns and municipalities that towns and RSUs that have been looking for property, and they don't have it. So I would be the interface to try to match everybody up.
So where does that where do we see those numbers? How do we gauge what that would look like?
So I haven't done that analysis yet, because this is just an introductory meeting to show you what the potential could be. And I think is that 11 acres up there? Or let's see if I can just. I know the town of Waterville just signed a lease with a solar company to get $439 per acre per year. Let's see here. So that's one source of revenue, is the leasing of the property. And then the other source would be property tax on the system that's going to be put up there. Let's see here. The year landfill is it's only 9 acres, and not all of it's usable. So you'd be looking at somewhere in that range, up to $500 per acre to lease that to the solar project, and then possibly the sales tax, not the sales tax, the property tax for the project that would be there.
The town currently has a purchase power agreement with Revision Energy for the project that's located on the town's public works garage that is set up with that account and 8 other trickle down effect on that. And the town is also in the process of construction of a solar array at the town's wastewater treatment plant, which is estimated to generate sufficient to reduce that bill by $20,000 to $25,000 a year.
Oh, great.
So there is some familiarity with the purchase power agreements and those kind of things. The idea of leasing to others and that kind of thing hasn't been discussed. But
Right. Well, there's new legislation that passed over in Augusta that's allowing that to happen now. And so now you can have unlimited number of accounts on an array.
And they don't have to relate to the municipality? It can be like,
Be like a community solar project. So the PUC is going to be putting out some RFPs the first quarter of next year for 400 megawatts of solar. So there's 20 or 30 large companies that are coming into Maine to try to capitalize on that. Right now, there's only 2 companies in Maine, Maine-based companies that do the power purchase agreements, Revision and Sundog. We have a half a dozen of those, and I'm not sure how many they have, but so if you wanted to do business with a local company, that, you know, we'd be one source for you.
So there's not a, when you talk about these other entities, they're not private entities. This wouldn't impact residential or anything like that.
The companies that are coming in to develop those big projects.
No, the potential entities that could share in this, we're talking about public entities,
Oh,
public agencies.
it could be a community solar farm that's open to residential customers, or I was just thinking about big off-takers, because
like the RSU.
like, yeah, an RSU that has a big electric
That's
bill.
the
Like,
question.
before the new laws came into place, we really couldn't do anything with RSUs because they have a charge called demand charge. Now, with the new solar law, we can offset the demand charge. So schools are going to benefit big time.
There are companies that are soliciting schools, I know going out soliciting entities to buy into this, for the companies that are gonna build these solar arrays, that we would see the benefit. We wouldn't install the solar arrays, but we would buy energy
Right.
off these folks.
At a reduced rate, right?
You
Yes.
could do that. Yeah, you could do that, or you could buy it through your own power purchase agreement like you've done, and have the potential to own the system at some point. So what I'm showing you here is just kind of a little off track, but it's monitoring of the system. Every panel could be monitored online. Just to show you what that looks like a little closer up, this panel up here produced, or this one here looks like it produced 290. Let's see if I can focus this. No, that's not what that does. 290 watt hours at the time that we were looking at this, but you can see the production of every solar panel, so that would be part of the whole package. So here's a couple of things. So Sundog would form Bucksport Solar LLC, special purpose entity, which is part of the power purchase plan. Then Bucksport would have an opportunity to buy the system at the end of year 6 for fair market value. Now, the town's not obligated to buy the system, though. It could just continue to buy power at a lower cost. Whoops. And then billing would be done every quarter on the actual amount of kilowatt hours produced. So, so I showed you the full potential, but, you know, if the town didn't want to go that far with it, you know, let's say the town just wanted to satisfy its own needs, and maybe your own school system, you could have a much smaller array up there and not involve others. I was just trying to show you the potential that you have. And then I put an installation schedule here so you could see how long it would take to develop a 3.5 megawatt system. So if we take, you know, if we jump right on it, it would take some time before you, all the way into June of 2021, before, you know, we could get that up and rolling. So I just want to show you one more video of a project that we're pretty proud of here. That should be going online next month. This is MDI High School. We put 1,450 solar panels on that roof this summer. So that'll produce 500,000 kilowatt hours for the school per year. So I think that's the largest school project in the state. So that's the extent of my presentation. I can take all kinds of questions if you like. Or
What's a typical lifespan, and if we didn't own, I'm assuming that if we didn't own it at any time, the replacement requirement is yours, and what's the lifespan of these things?
Well, while Sundog owns the system, we would maintain it. The solar panels have a power warranty of 27 years. So they're guaranteed to produce 80% of their power for 27 years. Then after that, it would drop off in like 32 years. It's more like 70% of their power. So they'll continue to operate. So they have a long life, and the power purchase agreement is either 20 or 25 years, with some opportunities to extend it. But to answer your question, if the town bought the system, there's a maintenance contract available that we continue to maintain it, make sure everything's running properly.
And at the end of the contract, if we went the full 20 years, then we'd own the system already anyway.
It depreciates down to a fair market value, which would be minimal at the end of 20 years. I estimate the fair market value at the end of year 6 to be close to 50% of the original value. So, oh yeah, go
I
ahead.
know this is like a guesstimate, but I'm just curious, like, can you give me an example of like how much power you think a town like this would use?
Sure.
What is 4.7 billion?
I can give you an idea. We're working with the town of Oakland.
Yep.
And they need about 445,000 kilowatt hours a year to satisfy their library, their fire department, their town office. They've got a big pumping station, water pumping station. I don't know if you folks have that. Do you have an electric bill with a water pumping station for sewer maintenance or?
Our sewer,
That's what we're working on down there.
that's
with
what
the
we've got the
Oh,
solar
right,
array.
you've got that
to
solar
offset
array
that.
down there, yeah, so that's gonna offset a portion of that bill. So, you know, without looking at your bills, I don't know exactly what you have left to offset. But, and then,
How much does school usually on average use?
well, the high school, the MDI high school uses $500,000 a year.
Yep.
Belfast High School is somewhere in the 400,000
Yep.
kilowatt hours a year range.
So what would be the reason, and I realize you're, but why wouldn't we just tie into one of these agreements where we have no ownership and we just get the benefit from it and somebody else owns it and builds it?
You could do that. That's
Yeah.
part of this arrangement. You don't have to buy it.
You just don't see as much,
Pardon me?
you don't see as much savings if you don't purchase, right? How does that work?
I'll show you a graph, and it might help a little bit here. Oh, wait a minute. My graph is in this one here. So this, I don't have a pointer for this, but, so you can see, if you don't mind, oh, sorry, in the way. So this is the beginning of the 20 years, and then here's end of year 6 where you buy it. And then your savings drops off because you just put up the money to buy it. And you don't catch back up again until later in the contract. And then you go ahead of, so this is the blue, the purple here just represents buying the power at a reduced cost, showing you what your cumulative savings would be over the life of the system. So you might not want to buy the system because you're going to have this big cash deficit here, and you won't recover for a few years until you start to make money on the other end. So if you let the power purchase agreement run out for 20 or 25 years, then at the end, you know, the cost is going to be much less than at the end of year 6. This shows you the difference between, so this is what you'd be paying for power if you don't have, and this is, again, based on that, you know, huge system, so I apologize for that big number, but I can put it in, you know, terms that relate more to Bucksport later, but, so this is just, the example is just showing that you pay $16 million for that power versus with a PPA, you pay $8.8 million. So, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but.
I mean, it'd be interesting to take our actual numbers and then the next step be
Right.
getting a proposal, if we wanted to go that route, to get a proposal and see what
And to see how the current systems, I mean, do you think we're any closer to have a better understanding of the system in?
Definitely, that we're finally, our big conundrum was getting Central Maine to appropriately record what this was and reflect it in our billing, which still occurs even though you have solar, because they have transmission and they have delivery charges that are part of that.
That's gonna be covered now.
Is that?
Yeah.
So that
That'll be
changes.
a shock because it was months getting the bills right and getting things.
Yeah, that's frustrating, but with the new solar law, we're gonna now be able to apply 75% of the solar credit towards the demand charges.
Okay.
And the demand charges are the transmission and distribution charges that bigger facilities incur.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be difficult to figure out what what remains for municipal infrastructure. I think probably the school, the RSU, could benefit dramatically from it. I mean, the whole point of the solar array at the treatment facility was to utilize the balance of the grant funding left from the construction of that in a way that paid forward for the community to save money
Sure.
over time, and
But that's only gonna cover a portion of their usage.
it's
there,
going to
right?
cover
Like
a
25
little
30%?
less than maybe a third
A
the
third,
cost
yeah.
of our power costs at that
Yeah.
facility.
So you could use the credits from the land cap to bring that to zero. Yeah.
Well,
So, correct me if I'm wrong, so this array would just give power to the municipality properties, not the taxpayer?
Well, indirectly, the taxpayer benefits, because
Well, it's good.
You don't
I
have to
know it
have-
saves the town money, but
Yeah, yeah.
so I can't. If I live next to this array, I can't
Yep.
use that power. Is what I'm saying. I guess.
oh, that's an interesting question, because what actually
I
happens...
still have to go through CMP.
You do,
Okay.
yeah. But what's going to happen is the power's going to come off the solar array out there at the land cap and hit the CMP grid, and then it immediately gets dispersed to everybody around the cap, because people around the cap need power. So during the day, they're going to take that power, but CMP is going to charge them for it. So, so it's kind of interesting. But the town's going to get credit for all of that power.
Well, my question a while ago was around that, but in particular, I was thinking, let's say there's an entity like a trailer park. And the owners of the trailer park, could that be one of those entities that you talked about that came into an agreement with the town? And
It could if we set the whole thing up as a community solar project. So I have to admit that I don't know that much about community solar projects because it's new in Maine. The fact that we can have unlimited participants in a community solar project. So if you wanted to develop the whole thing and let somebody manage that part of it and just sell to anybody that wants to buy, have 1,000 off-takers, somebody else could manage that and the town could get a piece of the action, whether it's the lease or maybe some of the electricity income.
I think there's going to be a big charge, like you said, with this new law coming into play. We're going to see folks coming here, and the opportunity for the town